What's the good news? Many of us have grown up in church or around the church and have heard this word gospel. And maybe you haven't grown up in church and you've only heard it in a Panic at the Disco song. Well, no matter where you heard the word gospel, gospel has a specific meaning that matters to us today. And what does gospel mean? Well, Deborah M. Gill, a biblical scholar, tells us the word gospel comes from the Old English word Godspell, comprised of God, which means good, and spell, which means news or story. And we trace this word back to biblical times in which it was used to announce the good news of victory in war. And with that in mind, why would we call the story of Jesus' life, death, and resurrection the gospel? It seems a little strange. Well, we see in Matthew 4:23, Matthew 24:14, and Acts 8 verse 12, that this good news that these people were referring to had to do with God's kingdom. And the king of this kingdom is none other than Jesus. Revelation 19:16 even refers to him as the King of all kings and the Lord of all lords. And you might be saying to yourself, well, Josh, that's awesome. But what does this have to do with winning a war? What war did Jesus win? Well, in Colossians 2, Paul reminds the Christians in Colossae that Jesus claimed victory over the spiritual rulers and authorities of the world that want to steal, kill, and destroy our faith in him. This happened when Jesus willingly gave his life up on Calvary for us to have life and life to the fullest. And this is such good news. Along with this life that Jesus has made available to us is a death, though, to the old life that we were living before Jesus saved us. Specifically, we are told by Paul to put to death the sinful earthly things like sexual immorality, impurity, lust, evil desires, greed, anger, rage, malicious behavior, slander, and ultimately all the evil deeds that we let rule our life before. In this new kingdom, we are to live as citizens of heaven, clothing ourselves in mercy, kindness, humility, gentleness, patience, and love. And that sounds like a lot better kingdom to live in. Though it's important to note that you don't have the power to live this way in your own strength. Rather, we must follow the Spirit. The Bible tells us in Galatians 5:22 through 23, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. So how do we access this Holy Spirit so that we may live as citizens of this kingdom of heaven? Something so amazing must be so difficult to gain access to, right? Wrong. Jesus tells us in Luke 11:13, if you then, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give the Holy Spirit to those who ask him? So I would say that your first step to living by the Spirit starts with asking God for this Holy Spirit to lead you and strengthen you so that you may be transformed in your mind and live differently in this world. Finally, one of my favorite aspects of this kingdom is that it goes on forever. The psalmist, the prophet Daniel, and the apostle Peter all refer to this kingdom as an eternal kingdom we get to partake in. This is a breath of fresh air, because sometimes as Christians, we may not see immediate results of trusting in the Lord and living by the Spirit. But as we live by the Spirit, we are promised a harvest that we will reap either in this world or in heaven. My hope for those that are listening to this is that you may know the Lord and the greatness of his kingdom in your life. Thank you for listening. Let's go live as if heaven was really our home. Thank you.